right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Tuesday morning. Earlier this month, when we were remembering the attacks of September 11th, 2001, we had a report about 3 New York City firefighters who died all the same day. All had been first responders on September 11th, 2001, and they just died this month. And they died from complications caused by the chemicals that they had breathed in. And I think in all 3 cases, it had developed into a cancer of some sort. Cancer is an interesting and mysterious disease, and doctors have been working forever to try to figure out what to do about it. And it's an interesting group of diseases, because it seems like it's not one, like breast cancer is not the same as prostate cancer, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. I'm not a doctor. It's just that we speak to a lot of them. Dr. Timothy O'Leary has been with us before. He's on the phone again. He's the Chief Research and Development Officer for the Veterans Administration. He's going to tell us about some ongoing cancer research activities there, and perhaps some good news, or at least the promise of good news. And I'm just curious if perhaps veterans have a higher rate of cancer because of the chemicals they're exposed to, especially those who were in any war combat area. Dr. Timothy O'Leary, good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
Where are you?
I'm doing well. And you?
Good. But where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Washington, D.C. area.
Oh, okay.
And it's a pleasure to talk to you.
And you too. So is there good news in this interview?
Well, there is. I mean, I think cancer diagnosis and treatment is getting better all the time. And it's getting better as a result of really talented researchers.
Yeah.
For example, down in Miami, Andrew Shalley, who actually is a Nobel laureate, is doing cancer research that is identifying molecular abnormalities associated with cancer and using those to help develop new cancer treatments. And this is just one example of really hundreds of examples of VA researchers who are working to improve cancer care for veterans in the future while delivering cancer care for veterans in the present.
And are the veterans a different demographic for cancer than the rest of the population for some reason?
There are some veterans that are at higher risk for certain cancers. For example, veterans that were exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam.
Oh, right.
Higher risk of some cancers. But veterans are susceptible to the full range of cancers that affect all Americans as we get older. And of course, we take care of veterans from all eras. We have veterans from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and these are ages in which cancer begins to pick up just as a result of aging.
And that also applies to both the men and women veterans because they each have their individual issues.
It does. And of course, women are continually more important in the defense of the United States. And while men are more subject, obviously women don't get prostate cancer, men do get breast cancer, and so some of the work that goes on in these cancers may surprisingly be relevant across both sexes, even when we think of breast cancer, for example, as being predominantly a woman's disease.
Yeah. When we hear about I don't know if this is let me see, how do I ask this question? This is from Chernobyl. I was reading this article on Chernobyl that the women from Chernobyl who were turned away, told to leave, went back because they just wanted to go back, and they're still alive. And meanwhile, other people who were exposed to the radiation from Chernobyl had serious problems. Why would it be that some people can be right in the heart of it and not get the problem, and other people be on the outskirts of it and get the cancer?
Well, we know that some cancers have a genetic predisposition. For example, probably many people have heard of the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes that predispose to breast cancer. And there are other genes that can predispose to a variety of other cancers when those genes are abnormal. And we don't know what all of those cancer genes are now. In fact, some of the work going on in our Million Veteran program is aimed at understanding better cancer susceptibility, the way genes interplay with each other and with environment to cause the kinds of effects that you just talked about now. And really, understanding this will help us not only to identify risk for cancer, but hopefully to both be able to prevent and better treat cancer in the future.
And that's where your CONFIRM program comes in?
Absolutely. CONFIRM is a large clinical trial to determine the best way to screen for colon cancer. You know, some people now are screened for colon cancer with colonoscopy, and other people have their stool tested for blood. And we really don't know which is the best way to prevent colon cancer deaths. When we screen for blood in the stool, we typically do it every year, so we have higher frequency. On the other hand, when you screen using colonoscopy, although it's much less frequent, you can get a better view of the entire colon, and you can remove some of the precancerous abnormalities that you may see. But without a large clinical trial, we really don't know which is the best strategy over the long run. And VA has been willing over time to invest in these long-term clinical trials because it will result in better health care for veterans first and foremost, and then help all Americans have better health care over the long run.
And is colorectal mainly a man's issue, or is this a woman's issue as well?
Colorectal cancer is important to both men and women. In fact, you know, most cancers that we deal with that don't involve the sex organs affect men and women. Maybe not quite at the same frequency, but at a high enough frequency that both genders are affected by our research.
I do like the fact that the VA researchers are also clinicians, so they can deal one-on-one with the patients.
Absolutely. Clinical care drives the research program in VA, and it's really important not only to direct our research program, but to assure that the clinicians that are taking care of our veterans are aware of the latest developments in research so they can bring that back to the clinical care of our veterans every single day. And they're an amazing group of individuals.
The common thing we hear among people in general, the population in general, is that we're reluctant to go get the exam that could save our lives. The early detection message is this part of that? Is your radio tour part of that to get especially in this case to veterans?
Absolutely. It's about establishing a good relationship with your healthcare provider and being able to talk about those things that bother you. You know, sometimes people go into the doctor and they don't actually really tell them what's really on their mind.
Right. Yeah.
And it's very important to get that communication. It's also important to tell them about the history of your family. You know, if you find out that you had sisters that had breast cancer at the age of 35, that may affect you, and you may want to be getting screened more often and at a younger age. And so sharing that family history, your personal exposure history, as well as what you're thinking about right now is very, very important to assure that you can get the best possible care, not only for cancer, but for any health condition.
Well, we have a very vibrant veterans community here in Ocala, and so for them, if you wouldn't mind, because we've got about a minute left, is there a website they can go to, or what's your suggestion to them?
Well, surely you can go to the website www.research.va.gov, and if you're being treated at the medical center or at any of our outpatient clinics, you can talk to your healthcare provider about VA research and potentially volunteer to serve once again by participating in our research programs.
Okay. Dr. Timothy O'Leary, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us, and you're always welcome back.
And I want to thank you and give particular thanks to the veterans in the audience that have put their lives on the line to serve our country.
Well said. Absolutely. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. A flood watch is in effect through this evening. Some clouds and some sun today with a couple of drenching showers and thunderstorms around. Most widespread this afternoon and this evening. The high 82 to 86. Partly cloudy later tonight, low 70 to 74. Some sunshine tomorrow with a couple of showers and thunderstorms.